The number one mistake I see new sales reps making at virtually every company is that they don't have a clear objective for why they are calling their customers or emailing or messaging. They tend to just reiterate the same messaging that's in every single email, except they'll type it in different ways and hope that for some reason that the client will respond this time when they ignored them last time. This is a pretty low efficiency model of questioning. And instead of thinking it from your perspective, from, okay, this is my first call, my second call, my third call, you need to flip that perspective and look at it from the buyer's point of view. And that comes down to the buyer's journey. So the journey of going through a buying decision. To become a client of any organization, you need to first answer three questions. That's first, what is my problem? Second, how am I going to solve it? And third, who am I going to work with to implement that solution? Okay, so the third and final one, that's where a lot of companies actually start their marketing, which is completely upside down. So they'll start by introducing case studies and customer testimonials and say we're the preferred vendor of choice, but they won't have actually established a customer that needs a new solution that has identified a problem. Okay, so that's where we need to start. Let's go through those three sections in order. So firstly, what is my problem? Whenever you activate a new account, your number one priority should be to introduce new perspectives that show your buyer that their current methods of doing business are inefficient and insufficient, okay? So we need to disrupt the way they're doing business. Again, I've said this multiple times throughout these videos. Our jobs as sales reps are to take our customers off their status quo through a period of disruption into becoming clients of our organization for better results. Okay, so that's what a what question is. What is my problem? Now, an example of a what-based insight, right, will be what I shared in an earlier video, which is that 74% of buyers choose the sales rep that is first to add value and insight. And that's a great what insight, because if companies aren't training their sales reps to add value and insights, that means they're missing out on 3 out of 4 potential customers. Okay, and so that can engage them and make them change the way they're currently doing business. Okay, so that's a what insight, a what is my problem. Next is how. How am I going to solve this problem? And this is when, in the example of selling ramp-up videos, that we would say video is the best way to communicate new training content to your employees. So we would share an insight like 90% information retention via video over 10% information retention via text. Okay, it's a great how insight. How am I going to solve this problem? So once a customer has identified that their training needs adjustment, how are they going to approach their new training strategy? And we want them to go with video because we sell videos. And lastly, who are we going to work with? Okay, this is what we mentioned earlier. This is where we will introduce case studies, customer testimonials. I will get referrals from people they know and say, this is what we at RampUp are able to provide our clients in terms of return on investment, and this is why we're the preferred vendor of choice. Okay, so you cannot jump these questions. You need to answer them one after the other, and this gives you an objective for each of your calls. So you activate a new account, okay, quickly as possible, how do I prove to them that their current solution needs disruption? Then how do I prove to them that my solution, my form of solution is the correct one? And then lastly, how do I prove to them that I'm the correct vendor? What is my problem? How do I solve it? Who do I work with? Okay, if you work those three questions in order, you always have an objective for your calls. You're able to provide relevant insight that actually helps the buyer move through the buying decision. And you're not just reiterating the same junk. You actually have fresh perspective to share with your customer. Okay, so that is the buyer's journey. Next, we're going to talk about more models of segmentation, how we can break down our buyers even further to even more, to provide even more impactful and relevant value through the customer profile and the buyer personas.